Welcome back. Today we are covering the bottles that I was lucky enough to grab the last couple of months. Two of the bottles on this list, they are the most expensive bottles that I have ever purchased. It was a little gut wrenching, but stay tuned to find out what they are. Welcome back to the Bourbon Retriever, where I go in the wild, hunt bourbon, and bring it back for you. Today I have a fantastic list of bottles. I got super lucky to grab some of these. I think almost every one of the bottles on this list is going to be a hitter. I don't really know where to start, so I'll just grab the first one. And it is a Four Roses single barrel proof. This is the OESO recipe, coming in at 9 years 6 months. This is the low rye mash bill. Proof is 110.4. I believe this is tier 2. I got this bottle when I went and did a tour of Four Roses down in Kentucky a couple months ago when I visited my brother. When you go and visit the distillery, they normally have at least one recipe at the store. I know right now they have all 10, so if you're anywhere nearby, run down. I think you can still only buy one per visit, but you at least have the chance to pick which recipe you want. Traditionally, when you go, there's only one recipe that you get, and it's the bottle that's it that day. When I went, I was a little hesitant. I couldn't quite tell, maybe if these bottles that they offer are the reject barrels. Stores will go down, and Four Roses will put out a bottle from each actual recipe for the tasting panel to try, and then the store will pick one of those to take home to offer to their customers. And I was wondering if the bottles they offer at the distillery are just maybe the ones that get rejected. If it goes through 4 or 5 different tasting panels and no one's picking it, if they just bottle it and put it in the gift shop. However, me and my brother, we opened this, tried it the day we got it, and I'm telling you, it is the best Four Roses I've ever had. I don't know if it is the recipe or if it is this specific single barrel, but I am absolutely in love with this bottle. There's more oak notes on this than any of the other Four Roses I've tried. And next time I go to Kentucky to visit Four Roses, I will not hesitate to buy another bottle. I think the master dealer actually probably holds his best bottles for the distillery only release. At the distillery, they do charge you $99. That is a little more expensive than I've seen recently in my market. However, I've talked to a couple of different stores, and Four Roses has moved up their MSRP, so I think $99 is the new MSRP for the Four Roses single barrel. If you haven't been to Four Roses, I did a tour video of Four Roses. I'll leave a link here in the corner. Great video to check out if you've never been. Okay, next bottle on this list is a Maker's store pick. This is coming in from BK's, a great store in Maryland. I recently did a video hunting their store where I was able to get, actually I won't say what bottle it is yet, it's later on this list, but I was able to get a very special bottle. Also on that trip, I grabbed one of their store picks. This is the Makers. They have 3 of them right now, and this one might be the best one they have, if not number 2. It is so, so good. And I am not a Makers fanboy. I would say if I tried 10 Makers store picks, I'll like maybe 3 of them. I traditionally think a lot of times they can be a little tainted, and I just am personally not a fan of the Maker's Funk. But with some of these store picks, with the different finishing staves they put onto it, it can hide or just completely erase that Maker's Funk. I've never been on a barrel pick, but I think Maker's would be one of the more interesting ones to try. Traditionally, when you go on a barrel pick, you go through, they'll thieve out of the barrels and you get to try the bottle at barrel strength. Sometimes they'll proof it down if what you're gonna have the end result is like maybe 100 proof or 90 proof for whiskey, just to give you a flavor of what it might actually taste like at the end. But how Makers is actually more of like a blending class. They put a bunch of different chips out referencing the different flavor profiles, and you go in, you may put 3 on one, 2 on the other, 0 on a certain flavor profile if you just aren't a fan of that finishing stave. And then they blend them all together, and then you taste it to see how it is. You'll go through this a couple times, mix it up a little bit, and then vote on the best blend that you guys created. So it's not so much picking a barrel, but trying your hand at blending a barrel. Before we move on to the next bottle on this list, if you guys have not been to Maker's Mark, I'd highly recommend you checking out this video. I recently went and did a tour of Maker's Mark and created a video around it. It is an absolutely beautiful campus. If you go, you get to hand dip your own Maker's bottle. Highly recommend if you haven't been to take a trip out there. It's absolutely beautiful. Next on this list is a Buffalo Trace store pick. Buffalo Trace, these come in at 90 proof. Traditionally, a non-store pick you can get for about $25. Sometimes stores will jack it up. I wouldn't recommend paying more than that. A store did have this as a store pick. This is a small 375. I don't think this is a bottle I'm going to go to very often, so I don't really need the full handle, full 750 milliliter bottle. So I think a 375 is just going to be sufficient for my needs. I paid about $15 for this, which if you equate it to the full bottle, would be about $30. I think that is a very reasonable price for a store pick. For across the line for Buffalo Trace products, if they're about $5 to $10 more than the traditional MSRP bottle, I would recommend to grab it. The store picks traditionally are better than the shelfers, but I would set your expectations. They aren't going to be drastically completely different bottle. For instance, this Buffalo Trace, it's still proofed at 90 proof. You're not going to drink it and find a stag that's foolproof. But this is probably one of the better Buffalo Trace bottles that I've tried. This reminds me very similar to a Blanton's. If you put this blind, I would probably guess that it's a typical Blanton single barrel, which is why it's okay to pay up for the store picks. A Blanton single barrel, those are MSRP 60. If you get the 375s, I think maybe closer to 35, 40. So if you like this for $15, and if it tastes similar to a Blanton's, you're getting a really good deal. And next on the list is another Buffalo Trace product. It is an Eagle Rare store pick. I got this at our local Safeway in DC. A couple of friends of mine actually did a 25-way blind of store picks of Eagle Rares, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And they told me at the end of their blind that this was one of the top bottles in the whole blind. So I am super excited whenever I get the chance to actually open this. I paid about $45 for this, which is right in line with the $5 or $10 over MSRP. I think these typically go for about $40 MSRP if you can find them. And if you're gonna go hunting for store picks, I would highly recommend you try and get the Eagle Rares. I think they're the best of the baseline Buffalo Trace products, but that's because of my flavor profile. I traditionally enjoy more oaky products, and the Eagle Rare is a little more oaky at that 10-year age statement. But for you guys out there, I would highly recommend going and talking to your local managers at your grocery stores. Those stores traditionally don't hold back products for loyal customers. When it comes in, it gets on the shelf. So if you can talk to them, learn what days their delivery days are, and you can go to a store at opening, maybe line up a little before, and you might have a good chance at some highly allocated bottles. In addition, grocery store chains, they don't typically do markups on those bottles, so you can get them at a steal too. And next bottle on this list is a Blanton store pick coming in from BK's in Maryland. If you have never been to BK's, I'd highly recommend you checking out this video. I did a hunting video there not too far back. They have some of the best prices in the whole DMV area. They are absolutely unbelievable, and they are my go-to store in this area whenever I need to get a new bottle. And they recently launched their store pick that they get from Blanton's. They normally get these once a year, and how you can learn when they're dropping their picks is you go join their bourbon club. It's absolutely free. You go in, go to their whiskey session, talk to Joe, and he'll sign you up for their bourbon member club. You leave your email address, and each time they get a store pick in, they send an email out to the full listserv, and that way you'll know exactly when these picks come in. But I'm telling you, you do not want to miss the next blends that they drop, because this is the best blends I have ever had, hands down. I haven't opened mine yet, but my buddy also got a pick, and we did a blind with it, a Blanton's Gold, and a couple other Buffalo Trace products, and it won hands down, not even close. Second place wasn't even on the same planet. It was absolutely fantastic, and I will be nursing this bottle. All right, the last Buffalo Trace product on this list is a Blanton's straight from the barrel. I was absolutely in love with this bottle. I went to a bar, I tried it, and fell in love. These on secondary in my area are right now around $250. It's steep and rather expensive. But when you think about a lot of the limited editions these days, they're right at that $200 mark. And I think this blend from the straight from the barrel is on par with a lot of those LE bottles. So if you're comfortable paying $200 for an LE, I think this is a bottle you should consider purchasing. That said, these are all single barrels. The one in the bar was substantially better than this single barrel. I really wish I could have bought that bottle instead of this one, but it's still a fun experience to try all the different variations. With them being single barrels, they're all going to be slightly different. Some notes are going to be a little more attenuated than others. Some they'll be tuned down. So that's just the fun of buying single barrel products. When this one's empty, I will probably go out and look to try and get a backup. I am in love with this bottle. I think it is the best of the Blanton's lineup, and I think it'd be a really fun blind to do the Blanton straight from the barrel, a Stag Junior, each Terrell barrel proof, just to see which of those I enjoy the most. Unfortunately, I don't own all those bottles right now, but fingers crossed one day I might get lucky. The next bottle on this list is a bottle that I've been hunting for a very long time, and it is the Old Forester store pick coming in at 100 proof. This is the Black Label Old Forester. Black Label store picks have become almost impossible to find in my area. Almost every store is doing the Blue Label barrel proof version, which makes sense. People in the community love barrel proof products, and store owners want to move their store picks as fast as they can, so it makes sense that most of them are opting in for the barrel proof product. However, personally, I think Old Forester tastes much better closer to the 100 proof area. So when I saw this in the marketplace, I just had to go grab it. I paid a little over $70 for it. I don't know what is MSRP for the Black Label, just because I just had never seen them. But given the rarity and how much I really enjoy lower proof Old Forester products, this is a bottle that I just had to buy. A couple of my friends have cracked it and they've told me it is phenomenal, so I cannot wait until I eventually open this bottle. Okay, next on this list is a bottle that I was just absolutely shocked to see because they just don't make it anymore, and it is the WB Saffell Batch 1. This came out, I want to say like 3 years ago, so I was just befuddled when it was on the shelf. This is Wild Turkey Juice. Campari is trying to bring back some pre-prohibition brands, and WB Staffell is one of them. This is a blend of 8, 10, and 12-year-old juice, which is very similar to the Rare Breed blend, except this is coming in at 107 proof, whereas the Rare Breed is 116. I think 107 is actually the optimal area for proof in bourbon. It's low enough where you're not watering it down too much, but at the same time, it's not hot as some of these barrel-proof products, where it's just sometimes can be a very just ethanol-y, mouth-blown feel, and you just can't taste any flavors when it gets that hot. I know this has gotten some good reviews in the community. Like I think Fred Minute put it on a blind with some other allocated products, maybe even a Pappy, and then this one. So I'm excited to open this one day, considering I am such a big turkey fanboy. The other thing I'll say about this product is they all come in 375s. I wish most products switch to the 375 trend. I know some are going from 750 to 700 to make it efficient for international production and American production. I don't like that. You're just losing 50 milliliters and not really getting any price reduction. However, if I think a lot of the, especially LE bottles, drop down to 375, that would double the production and get a lot of those products into more hands. You know, imagine if Pappy, the B-Tax, if those are in 375s, that would double the amount of people that are able to have those bottles at end of year. In addition, especially, you know, a lot of those LEs are $200 plus. If you can get them in 375s, I imagine it wouldn't be, you know, an exact 50% cut down to 100, but if you get that down to like 120, I think that would open the door to a lot more people in the whiskey community. Okay, next bottle on this list is the Discovery 11. I think this bottle has a good shot at being top 10 when it comes to the end of the year blind. It is absolutely a phenomenal blend. It's a blend of 13, 10, and 6-year-old juice. The 6-year-old is Bardstown's own juice. Now the controversy here is, what is a 13-year-old juice? People are looking at it and guessing that it is Wild Turkey juice. However, Beam also has the same mash bill. I know Bardstown has been using that exact mash bill on several of their blends. I think people are talking about it now because they're seeing a 13-year age statement next to it. And with the Russell 13 doing so well in the marketplace, a lot of people are hoping and wishing that that exact same juice is in this blend. I personally love the Russell 13s. I'm not a big Jim Beam fan, and I absolutely love this bottle. If it is actually Jim Beam juice, it's probably one of the better Jim Beam products I've ever had. If you see this in your marketplace for anywhere below 140, I'd highly recommend getting it. I recently took it to a bottle share, and this got absolutely destroyed. But lucky enough for me, I was able to buy a backup bottle. If you can't find the bottle or if it's too expensive, see if you can go find a bar pour of this, because this is a pour I feel like everyone should try at least once. Okay, next bottle on this list was an impulse purchase, and it is the 2023 Remus Gatsby Reserve. This is a 15-year-old cask strength at coming slightly over 98 proof. Now, it's a rather expensive bottle. I think MSRP is on it is $230. The day I was at the store, they actually had it for $215. And recently I saw that ADHD Whiskey gave this one of the highest scores of the year at I think a 9.1, which he rarely gives out 9s. What's really cool about this bottle is that it is a cask strength 98 proof whiskey. You do not see many whiskeys that are cask strength that are sub 100 proof. Typically when they're cask strength, they're like 120 and above. So while it is $200 plus, the uniqueness of it being it's old and cask strength that's under 100 proof, I think it fits a very unique spot on my shelf. It would be a great bottle to blind with others. This will definitely be a bottle that goes at the end of the year blinds. I may do a review on it, we'll see, but I'm excited to try it. All right, before we get to my last two bottles, which are the most I've ever spent on whiskey before, if you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button. I'm on my way very close to 1,000 subs. When I get to 1,000 subs, I'm gonna pop one of my special bottles. It's gonna be a great celebration. I'm gonna do a live stream with you guys and just have a fun time with everyone. All right, the next two bottles are the most expensive bottles I've ever purchased. And the first one, you already know if you've been watching my channel, and it is the William Heaven Hill. This is the newest release, the 2023 release. It's a 17-year-old, 120 proof whiskey. If you haven't seen it, go check out my review. I'll leave it in the upper corner. I am in love with this bottle solely because of the nose. The nose in this bottle is probably at least top 2 of this year. It is just absolutely fantastic. The palate, I would say, is above average. It's not out of this world, but the nose is what carries the day on this bourbon. Now, this bottle is $291 out the door, and you can only get it at the distillery, so it is super hard to get. The secondary on it, I think I've seen anywhere from $750, $725 up to over $1,000. No bourbon is worth that. Do not go out there and pay that money for this or really to any other bourbon. At $300, it's, man, I still turns my stomach knots thinking about how much I paid for it, but I do love this bottle. Okay, the last bottle on this list, it's a bottle that I have been wanting for a while, and it is a Dusty Turkey from my birth year. This is a bottle that was made in 1990. This is also a bottle that's produced by Wild Turkey, which is one of my favorite distilleries. So I got this bottle at Neat when I was in Kentucky. If you guys are ever going through Kentucky, make sure you stop at Neat. It's a really cool store. They have a store full of Old Dusties, but also attached to it, they have a bar. And you can go in the bar, and they have one of the biggest bars of Dusties I've ever seen. And they're all at pretty good prices. You can go in, I think I got a pour of this for, I think, under $20. What's really cool about Neat is you can go and you can try the whiskey before you buy it. Typically, with Dusties, they're really hard to get their hands on, and they're also, when you do, they're just relatively expensive. But at Neat, you can go to the bar, try through a bunch of different stuff. Like I had Old Stitzel, I had Cheesy Gold Foil turkey, I had this turkey, among some other bottles, and I just gravitated towards the old 101 Wild Turkey. So if you're ever in Kentucky, make sure you go to Neat. They just have a wide selection of Dusties, Pre-Fire, Heaven Hill. They also have a bunch of old blends. I looked to see if they had one that was exactly my birthday. It is a Friday, so in theory, the blends could have been bottled that day, but they didn't have any. They also have a ton of Wild Turkey. They had Cheesy Gold Foil. They had the 101s. What else did they have? They had a bunch of bottles that I can't even remember. It was an absolute massive selection. So my birthday is coming up here in a couple days, December 14th. I'm gonna pop this bad boy and have a sip out of my birthday, and then I'm also gonna have a sip every year on my birthday. But stay tuned, this will be in a review later this week, and I'll let you know what my thoughts are. So that is my most recent bottle haul. Let me know in the comments which bottle from here you would have purchased, or maybe ones that you would have passed up on. But if you're enjoying this content, before you head out, check out this video or this one, and until next time, cheers.